That's question 51, which asks us to traverse a tree in pre-order, in-order, and post-order. So as we learned from the lecture that if we have a tree, then we have a root node. And any node in the tree can be considered as a root node to the tree or to a subtree. And for example, if we have a root node X, then the X node may have a left subtree. In this case, we can call it a L. For a subtree L, this L could be an empty node, which means there's no subtree at all. It could also be a single node, or it can be a subtree as well. And similarly, we can also have the right subtree. In this case, we have it denoted as R. R can be empty, or it could be just one single node, or it could also be a subtree containing a root node to that subtree and also left-right subtrees. And when we say traversing a graph, this is like traversing a tree. This is like traversing a graph. We want to visit all the nodes in the tree exactly once. We don't want to skip any node, and we don't want to visit any of the node twice or even more times. And there are different ways of visiting nodes. Just like in graph traversal, we have DFS and BFS, as we discussed in past weeks. So in tree traversal, we also have multiple possible algorithms. And the most common algorithms for traversing the tree, I think we've discussed in the lecture already, including pre-order, in-order, and post-order. There's also a level order traversal that we can perform on a tree by using a queue as the underneath data structure. But I think for today's task, we don't need to worry about the level order traversal. And for pre-order, in-order, and post-order traversals, the rule is that if we want to traverse a tree using, for example, if we used pre-order, then what we want to do is we first visit the root node of the tree. Then we're going to recursively apply pre-order traversal on the left subtree. And after completing it, we will apply pre-order traversal on the right subtree. And when we say traverse the left subtree using pre-order, then again, we're going to first visit the root node of this left subtree, then the left subtree of the left subtree, then the right subtree of the left subtree. So we recursively perform pre-order traversal on this tree until we have all the nodes being visited. And if we apply in-order traversal, then we will first need to visit all the nodes in the left subtree using in-order traversal algorithm. Then we're going to visit the root node. Then we jump into the right subtree and then visit all the nodes in the right subtree by using in-order traversal. And for post-order, we will do left subtree, right subtree, and then finally the root node. So for the first task today, let's just make sure that we understand how these three algorithms work on a relatively easy or simple tree containing only 5 nodes, A, B, C, D, E. I'll give you maybe just 1 minute to write down the order of nodes being visited in this tree by using pre-order traversal, in-order traversal, and post-order traversal. Sure. Then we will quickly go through it together.
खाने के लिए कुछ है क्या?
I think there's nothing challenging here, right? For the entire tree, we can easily identify the root node, which is node A. And for the left subtree, we have the subtree which is marked in red on my screen. And for the right subtree, we have the subtree which is marked in blue color on my screen. So for pre-order chorizo, as we learned from the lecture, we're going to first visit the root node. Then we're going to apply pre-order chorizo on nodes in the left subtree. And then finally, we apply pre-order chorizo on nodes in the right subtree. So A must be the first node being visited. And as for nodes in the left subtree, again, we're going to identify the root node in the left subtree, which is node B. Then we jump into the left subtree. In the left subtree, there's only one single node D, so D will then be visited. And in this case, we don't have a right subtree, so that's it for the left subtree. And for the right subtree, we have a root node C. And using pre-order chorizo, we want to visit the root node, then the left subtree, but in this case, left subtree is empty. Then the right subtree, which contains one single node E. So this tells us that if we apply pre-order chorizo on this graph, the order of nodes being visited would be A, B, D, C, E. Right, we follow the same idea and try to find out what if we use in-order chorizo. In in-order chorizo, we have all the nodes in the left subtree being visited first, then followed by the root node, and then finally all the nodes in the right subtree. And in the left subtree, we're going to first have the left subtree being visited, which has the node D, then followed by the root node B. In this case, we don't have a right subtree. And then for the right subtree, we first have left subtree being visited. In this case, we don't have a left subtree. Then followed by the root node C, and then the right subtree E. So we will have C being visited, then followed by E. And finally, for the post-order chorizo, we're going to have the nodes in the left subtree being visited, followed by nodes in the right subtree, and then the last node being visited would be the root node. And within the left subtree, I think it's quite clear that we will have D being visited before the root node B. And for the right subtree, we should have E being visited before visiting node C. So in post-order chorizo, we're going to have D, B, E, C, A. So that's the order of nodes being visited. I believe this should be quite straightforward for everyone.